Welcome to Suvarna's educational channel. We have started this channel in order to enlighten everyone.
Hello children, welcome back to social class. How are you all? Hope you all are happy and healthy. Children, before to begin our session today, please keep all your requirements ready so that whenever I pose questions to you, you can answer. Children, today you're going to learn 13.2 Democratic and Nationalist Revolution in 17th and 18th century. Children, have you all done your home assignment that I have given you in your previous session? If you have done so, here are your answers. Please check your answers. Have you all written correctly, children? Please ensure all these points in your answers if you haven't included them. Let's quickly review the previous session. In your previous class, you have learned about forms of government by Aristotle in 3rd century, and you have also seen why England was called as the Glorious Revolution or the Bloodless Revolution, and American independence in 1774 to 1789, and also French Revolution. Let's quickly see today's objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to learn a growing middle class which envisages an end to privileges and also the outbreak of the revolution. Let's quickly see a growing middle class envisages an end to privileges. As we have seen in France, there were 3 estates. The first estate belongs to the clergy. The second estate belongs to the nobility, noble people. And the third estate belongs to the common man, like businessmen, artisans, and all the people who include in this third state. And here, the peasants and workers had participated in revolts against increasing taxes and food scarcity. This was left to the third estate, which had become prosperous and had access to education and new ideas. Therefore, in 18th century, it had witnessed a growing middle class, the emergence of social groups termed the middle class. They earned their wealth through an expanding overseas trade and from the manufacturing of goods such as woolen and silk textiles. Because of this, what happened? Even though there was a large growth of middle class, these middle class people had earned a lot of wealth through the overseas trade. They started manufacturing the goods like woolen and silk. Therefore, they have exported and brought by the richer members of the society. The third estate included professions like lawyers, administrative officials, and all these were educated and believed that no group in society should be privileged by birth. As we have seen, there were 3 estates. Clergy had taken the first estate because it had acted as a mediator between God and man. And we have the second estate, kings and queens and noble people, and they were also exempted from paying taxes. Only third estate people were paying the taxes. Therefore, and they were also given lot of the first 2 estates were given lot of privileges in the society. Therefore, the third estate people had rejected that idea and said that no group in society should be privileged by birth. Rather, a person's social position must depend on his merit. We have philosophers like John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau envisaged a society based on freedom and equal laws. I repeat, children, we have the philosophers like Rousseau and John Locke, who had emphasized a society based on freedom and equal laws. And third estate people were also the group of people who were administrators, lawyers. They were also educated, and that's the reason they had opposed the idea that by birth no one should gain the privileges. It should be on the merit that he possesses. And we have two treaties of government. What is this two treaties of government? John Locke, in his two treatises of government, sought to refuse the doctrine of the divine and absolute right of the monarch. Rousseau carried the idea forward, proposing that the form of government based on social contract between people and their representative. So who proposed a form of government that has social contract between people and their representatives? It is Rousseau. Therefore, we have Montesquieu's theory of separation of power. Montesquieu proposed division of power within the government, between the government, the executive and judiciary. He had separated the powers. Who had separated the powers? Montesquieu. The idea of these philosophers were discussed intensively in saloons, coffee shops, and spread among the people through books and newspapers. Because people were uneducated, and because of these discussions that took place in saloons, coffee shops, and in newspapers, these were frequently read aloud in groups for the benefit of those who could not read and write. The news that Louis XV is going to increase the taxes was also spread to everyone, and started to oppose for this decision, and also they generated anger and protest against the Louis XV. Children, hope you all have understood so far what I have taught. Here is a small task for you. Start filling the blanks. I'll give you 1 minute of time. Have you all written, children? Please check your answers if they are correct or not. Excellent, children. Let's quickly see the outbreak of the revolution. What was the cause for the revolution? There were great dissatisfaction in 1789. Note this, children. There was a great dissatisfaction in 1790. In 1789, France and a revolution broke out. Since there was a great dissatisfaction in 1789 in France, there was a revolution that broke out. These events shocked the rest of Europe and led to a period that produced the basis of our world today. we can distinguish into different stages. First, estates general that took place 1787 to 1789, National Constituent Assembly 1789 to 1790, and Legislative Assembly in 1791 to 1792. Let's see. In France of the old regime, the monarch did not have the power to impose taxes according to his will. So, on May 1789, Louis XVI called together an assembly of the Estates General to pass proposals for new taxes. Children, as we have seen in the earlier classes, what happened? There was a parliament party and king's party. Do you remember, children? So unless the parliament passes the rules, they cannot proceed for imposing taxes or going wars and so on. Here on May 5th in 1789, Louis XVI called together for a meeting. So he had included all the three estates people. The first two estates people had sent 300 representatives each, and the third estate people had sent 600 representatives. And these two estates representatives were seated in rows facing each other, and the 600 representatives from the third estate were not given place to sit. Therefore, they had to stand at the back. This is the opening ceremony of the Estates General at Versailles. Therefore, in tennis court, there was a oath taken by the third estate people. But before that, let's see the third estate people, as they were represented by their more prosperous, educated members. Peasants, artisans, and women were denied entry to the assembly. So what happened? Third estate people, they have listed down their demands in 40,000 letters. In 40,000 letters. Therefore, voting in the estate general during the past time, what happened? It was conducted according to the principle that each estate had one vote. Louis XVI had determined to continue the same practice, but the third estate people demanded that voting now to be conducted for all the people as a whole. So it represents the democratic type of government. Therefore, Rousseau in his book in Social Contract, the Social Contract, he had said that, so the people followed Rousseau, who had written a book, The Social Contract, where there should be a democratic government. And when people started to come up with this proposal, members of the third estate were rejected by the king, and these members had to walk out from the assembly in protest. Therefore, the members of the third estate viewed themselves as spokesmen for the whole French nation. Note this, children. On June 20, 1789, they assembled in the tennis court, half of an indoor tennis court in the grounds of Versailles, and they declared themselves as National Assembly. Once again, I repeat, children, on 20 June 1789, they assembled in the half of an indoor tennis court in the grounds of Versailles, and they declared themselves as the National Assembly and swore not to disperse till they get drafting constitution. While the National Assembly was at Versailles drafting a constitution, the rest of France suffered a severe winter. Because of this severe winter, they had a bad harvest, and because of this, the price of bread rose. Okay, so in this situation, the bankers exploited the situation and hoarded supplies. What did they do? The bankers exploited the situation and hoarded supplies. After long hours waiting in queues, after long hours waiting in queues, women, what did they do? They had rushed into the bakeries and stormed into the shops. Got it, children? Why there was an outbreak of revolt? When the third estate was busy in drafting constitution, there was a severe hit, okay, of winter. There was bad harvest, and because of this, the prices of the bread rose, and bankers who exploited the situation by raising the prices of the bread, and women, after waiting for long time in queues, they could not wait anymore and they had stormed into the shops and they had rushed into the bakeries, and you can see here how they were rioting for bread. Therefore, at the same time, there was another thing took place. The king ordered troops to move into Paris. On 14th July, the agitated crowd stormed and destroyed the Bastille, a hated prison. See, already they were agitated because the price of the bread rose. Again, they came to know that king sent the troops to move into Paris to punish them. Therefore, these people had entered the prison that's called Bastille, and also there were rumors from village to village that were spread. What was those rumors? That the king is sending the that Maynard had hired bands of brigands who were on their way to destroy ripe crops. So people were caught in frenzy fear. Peasants in several districts seized and attacked the castle of the king. And during that time, so many noble people, kings and queens, they fled. And this third estate people looted grain and burnt down documents containing records of manorial dues. Therefore, Louis XVI finally accorded recognition to the National Assembly. He accepted the principle that his powers would be from now onwards limited, checked by a constitution. It's very important, children. Please note down. On the night of 4th August 1789, the Assembly passed a decree abolishing the feudal system of obligation and taxes. Here is the constitution. Okay, children, hope you all have understood whatever is taught till now. Here is a small task for you. Please start answering the questions. I'll provide you 1 minute of time. Please check your answers, children, if they are correct or not. If your answers do not have these points, please ensure that you will have all these points in your answers. Let's quickly review today's session. In our session today, you have learned a growing middle class in 18th century, and also the outbreak of the revolution. Children, here are the questions for you. Please note down. We will discuss the answer in our next session. Excellent, children. In our upcoming session, we will be discussing France, which became a constitutional monarchy, and the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. Okay, children, hope you all have understood whatever is taught today. In our next session, we will be discussing, as I have shown in the slide, how France became constitutional monarchy and also the rights that are given in France for all the men and women. Okay, children, take care. Bye-bye. Meet you all in my next session. Till then, stay home, stay safe, happy learning.